I did take a quick look at your two of the references you had sent me at their websites, and I wondered, I saw the Hubbli portal, but I wondered, is their regular, the rest of their website, is that hosted by Hubbli?
And that was for which school were you looking at?
Media.
Oh, Media House.
Media Children's House, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And hold on, let me grab my phone.
Hi, sorry guys, I lost my video for a second there.
Okay.
All right. So are you guys now seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Hubbliville school?
That's right, yeah. So this is just a demo school, just to give you an idea of how things are generally set up for schools.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be different a little bit depending on the different packages that you have.
Okay.
So I'll just, on a high level, what we do is we give schools an all-in-one communication hub that's it's all built on top of what we call a private social network. It's kind of like a little private Facebook that has groups. Groups and profiles. So in its most basic sense, like sort of the basic sort of architecture, it's very much like a Facebook kind of groups-based social network. And then inside of that, we've built all these other very school-specific features. So it's kind of like having, as if Facebook said, okay, we're gonna make Facebook just for schools, and then we just keep on adding more and more things that schools need. So what we've discovered is that there's many different various tools that schools are using. Generally speaking, a different tool for each sort of need. And what we're doing is we've built a platform to bring them all into one place, so that you can save a ton of time by not having to manage multiple databases for each different tool.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got one database of users. It can actually update itself, which is really cool, and I'll show you that stuff later. And all these different things like social networks or text messages or emails and calendars and appointments and forms and things like that can all be managed in this one place. So it really is meant to simplify your life and save you a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is, Carmela, this is your first demo, I'm assuming. Like, have you
Of
seen
Hubbli,
anything of Hubbli? Okay.
And
Yeah.
I've worked with eSchool, I've worked with Power School, and I've been a tech teacher for, 14 years now. So, and
Great.
I have worked with Edmodo, so I know what you're talking about.
Awesome. Great. So
what before you even go further, though, I did go into the two schools and Media Children's House, and one of the questions I had asked Pat was, does hosting include the ability to host our front page web page too, or is it
absolutely
strictly the student?
Yep. So our custom package basically means that Hubbli can be your website as well. So
okay.
not only does it have this password protected sort of parent portal area, schools also have a public website that when they log in, they have access to more. But it handles all of your standard public web page posting needs as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. And in addition to that, we also, at the custom level package, we help you with search engine optimization, so that not only do you have those web pages, but we help you be found by prospective families looking for a school like yours.
Okay.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to show you here, I'm going to jump right into the groups. So this is kind of like the sort of the bedrock that everything is built on top of. So generally speaking, every class or staff, or let's say any type of context, like maybe a team or a committee or anything can have a group. So groups are just a very flexible way of organizing different people in your database for communication purposes. So, so, and you generally would have like an all school group as well. So let's say you want to communicate with everybody that's in the school, you would post something in the all school group. But what I'm going to do is jump into the class 104 group. This has kind of become our default demo group. And if you're used to Facebook or Edmodo or any of these kind of social tools, this will be pretty familiar, I think. You've got a list of different features here inside the groups, but the most basic one is, let's say you want to let's say you're a teacher or a staff member and you want to notify all the parents of a particular age level or a particular class, right? So you can just go in here and you can write a little update here, like, remember today is a field
So
trip.
this is like a Google Classroom.
Yeah, it has that with a whole bunch of other features too. So like, so
What's the media? Is that where you can store pictures and things?
yeah, you can upload pictures and documents and share them inside the group as well. And then also let's say you want to just so if you could imagine, this is like if you're going to send this out and you post this update, it comes here to the thread, right? Like just the thread here that will be visible inside this group, but it also goes out to all the members of the group as an email. And also, if you check this box, it can also send it out to them as a text message too. So
okay, well, our kids don't have email.
well, but the parents probably do, right? And you probably communicate with parents by email.
Well, yeah, but if this is a class vehicle for communication,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the kids can just log into here.
Yeah. The kids can log in. So,
Okay.
so what we see generally speaking is that, depending on the age level, it's just so for the younger ages, it's just parents in the groups, and then when the kids get older, they start to also have, join the groups and have class groups or whatnot. So the groups can be used for any scenario. Um, so, and within the group, and I just also want to mention all of these features you can turn on or off. So you really have total control over how things work. We have it set up by default, to cover really like 98% of all scenarios. But if there's any particular feature you don't want to use, you can just turn it off. So I don't want you to think that whatever you see is the only options. It's just this is like our demo setup right now. So let's say a teacher posts in the group, tomorrow's pizza lunch. Somebody else can post a comment like, is it gluten free? And I'm sure you understand that this is a lot better as far as like communication workflow. So the teacher can just answer this question one time and say, yes, of course. Of course there's gluten free.
Okay.
We're
I'm
in
with
2016 now. So so you get it, and then everybody gets that post, but it gets answered. The question only has to be asked once rather than 20 times by 20 different parents.
Right.
And then a couple more features here. I mean, and I just want to scroll down to get to some media. I don't know if we have any, but you can this works on all different devices, mobile, tablets and phones and everything, and you can add media here as well. So you can either click this on a desktop, you can grab a file, and on a mobile device, you can click this button to actually take a picture. So let's say you're on a field trip, and the teacher wants to share a picture of what's going on in real time, to the parents. They can just pull out their phone, open up Hubbli, and take a picture, and it'll send it to the parents right there. Now, there's also a few other great features here, like docs. So just like Google Docs, you can actually create a document here. You can attach documents and upload PDFs or documents or anything that you want to share with the group members. But here you can actually this is a document editor. So it's like a Wysiwyg document editor, just like Google Docs, that you can set the permissions for. So let me just show you if I go to create one here. So I'm going to create a document.
I don't need that piece.
Okay, great.
What we're really looking for is a student information system that goes from registration to graduation.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So there's a bunch of great features in here, group events and all this stuff synchronizes, and there's calendars for every group and they all synchronize. I'm going to jump into what you're now talking about, okay? If you notice here,
Okay.
there's also a tab called Forms. So this is where I'm going to transition into what you just said. So there's also the ability to create digital forms that allows you to collect information and manage information from parents, teachers, students, anybody, okay? And this is our, I would say, probably our most powerful feature. Um, the groups is kind of the architectural structure of how we make it really easy to organize communication. But the forms, this is where you move information around and organize it in very powerful ways. So you can add forms to specific groups, or there's also just an all forms page. Now, there's a
Okay.
lot of filtering and everything, and I just want to also mention, in general, overall, one thing that Hubbli does is that it automatically filters things away from parents. Okay, so that so right now we're in the class 104 group, and these are forms that have been added to that group. And if you notice, there's events, so there's calendars for that group. But if I go to the forms, the overall forms page, right, and I'm not a member of that group, I won't see that form.
Mhm. Okay.
So same thing with events. So if I go to the main calendar, I'll jump back to the forms in a second. But if I go to the main calendar here, let's go to a previous month, and I'm looking up at events here, this is going to filter events away from me. So if I'm a parent and I'm only a member of two groups, let's say, I'm not going to see events that don't pertain to me. So the Hubbli system is like an automated sort of communication filtration system as well, so that people never have to see information that's not relevant to them. Okay, so just to go back to forms now, I'm going back to the forms page. You can create forms like anything that you do on paper, any type of information management you do, whether it's keeping attendance, lesson planning, reports, um, any type of report cards, daily behavior documentation. You can create forms really, really easy. Now, and I also want to mention as well, we set all this up for you at the beginning. It's part of the setup package. But it's really easy for you to edit them or create new forms. We've got a really easy drag and drop form builder that can handle any type of documentation and requirements you need. So let me just jump into a couple of examples here. I'm going to go to the attendance form. All right. So first of all, I'm going to click on this button to go to the form as if I'm filling it out, right? And so let's say I'm a teacher and I'm going to select some of my students. So the system is filtering out all the students and just showing me my students, right? And so I can either just select all of them at once or I can deselect them, right? And in this particular form, we have a date field and we can say the status is present or absent. We can leave notes. I'll just pound the keys here. And I can also have this send parents a notification of this automatically. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll submit this form. So this is a form that could be filled out by all the different teachers. So what I'll do is now I'm going to go back to that forms page, and I can view the entries. So I'm going to click on the list of all the entries for this form. So here are all the different entries for this form that I want to see. Okay, so this is attendance. So if I'm a staff member, depending on my level of permissions, I'm either going to see all of the entries for all the students, and I can filter them out and search. I just want to see, all the ones for Potter. So here are all Potter's forms, right? Or I can clear that out. Um, but if I'm a teacher, I'm only going to see the entries here that I made. And if I'm a parent, I'm only going to see the entries here for my students, for my children.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Now, what we can also do is we can preview the entry so that we see the whole entry here, and we can print this off if we want to. And we can also edit the entry. So if you are depending on your access level, you can actually update these entries here, right? And this is useful in various different scenarios. Let's just say a teacher made a mistake and has to update it. So just much like you would take a piece of paper and erase it, rewrite it, or scratch it out with ink or something, you can just go in here and update it and fix it. Or let's say this is a form for student information that you gather from the parents about the child, like maybe their immunization records and their medical information, anything that you collect. the parent would just see their entries for their children, and they can update it whenever they want. So that's really helpful. That can save a lot of time.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. With the attendance, as you take the attendance we work on trimesters, so
Sure.
we want to report how many days a student was present, absent, late.
Hmm.
My suspicion, knowing the way computers work, is that information. Is that correct?
Sorry, I missed a word there. What did you say?
It should be able to give us the data for the number of days that they're absent, tardy, or present for a trimester for their report card, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So right now we're looking at everything on the front end. This is like front end access, that you would give to like anybody, depending on their permission level. In a second, I'm going to take you to the administrative dashboard where you would
great,
generate those types of reports, and you can
good.
export or import all this data and everything. And that's how you kind of manage data on a more sort of administrative level.
Is that where
But
the scheduling occurs?
well, it can be on both actually, but yes, you can always do everything from the dashboard. That's where you have the highest level of access. But I always start the demonstration from the front end just so that you can see sort of the interface of
Okay.
how 99% of the people in the school would actually interact with it.
Okay.
Um, so these are forms. A couple other examples of forms. Just I'm going to run you through them just to see how some different examples. But literally, you can do anything. But let me just jump down to a permission form for like a field trip as an example. So
And I got that. I understand it, honest. You don't have to
okay,
do that.
okay.
No offense, but you really don't have to do that.
Well, so there are a couple
Forms in
things that.
Google Docs.
Well, actually, this does some things that Google Docs doesn't do, and I'm about to show you that. And that's why I want to show this to you, if you'll
Okay.
bear with me. Where did that field trip go? There we go. Field trip permission form. So a couple things that Google Docs doesn't do. Okay. First of all, if you're a parent, you're already signed in, right? It can populate a lot of this information for you.
Okay.
And it can also have a digital signature that you can do on any device, right?
Okay.
And you can also have payments happening right from inside this form. So let's say it's a field trip and there's a payment. So these are things that you can't do with Google Docs. You would need 3 different tools for that. And this brings it all into one place. So again, just simplifying, bringing it all into one place, making it really simple, and being able to accept payments right here if you want to. Parents can just go in and pay by credit card or PayPal or whatever right from these forms. So we have schools doing all their yearbooks and field trips and pizza lunches and all that stuff right from these digital forms. And then another quick one here. What type of school? This isn't a Montessori school, is it? This is a.
No, that's what I wanted to tell you. We really are toddler up to 8th grade, and I wanted
Okay.
to ask you, do you have like districts that you do that you host their websites for?
So we work right now. We don't work with districts. We work with We work with every type of school: public schools, private schools, Montessori schools, Christian schools, like from literally daycare through high school.
Okay.
So
I mean, we only have 110 kids. It's not a big school,
yeah,
but
but that's
what
big enough.
I've
That's
come
big
in
enough. Go ahead.
background, and so I'm trying to make sure that what we have right now is not a student information system.
Okay.
It's really difficult right now to get done what we need to get done. And so I'm trying to make sure that whatever we be streamlined for going forward. So that's why I'm asking some of these questions.
Yeah, great. Well, these are good questions, and we built this product for you for the way you're describing your needs. Hubbli is built exactly for your school, from what I can tell, and from my our previous discussions with the sisters. Let's just take a look at so as far as moving information about the students, right? Student information. So students get these pages here, right? And I'm skipping over some other features just because it sounds like I want to focus on what your most important needs are right now. But let's say we've just got a few students in here as examples, right? So I'm going to go to Leora Landon's page, and so this is the page about Leora Landon. So this could be a toddler, this could be an eighth grader, it doesn't matter. We've got her teachers here. These are the teachers she's connected to, and here are her parents. All right. And these are all the different forms that have been entered about Leora. So this is a student information repository, right? Whether this is a diapering log or behavior tracking, behavior reports, or napping logs, or let me just jump down to grades, or different types of progress reports, anything that you need to do. Okay, and so the parents, and this is great too, because whatever parents are connected to this student's page can, let's say you do a behavior report. If you want to, that can be, not only will it land on this student page here, but it can also be sent to the parent's email address automatically as soon as it's filled out.
Okay.
One of the main features of Hubbli is that we automate a lot of the different types of communication so that you don't have to, so that a teacher can easily fill out a report, but then they don't have to then do the follow-up work, or a staff member doesn't have to do the next follow-up task of emailing it or photocopying it or faxing it. Like, these things happen automatically when it's appropriate. So but at any point the parent can come in here and can just preview this the scope and sequence report. Again, just another example of the types of reporting that can happen here. And then they can print this off at home, right? Or they can, again, if you're the teacher and you need to update it, and you have, and that it's appropriate that you have that ability, you can come in here and you can update it. There we go. So you can just go in here and change the entries if you made a mistake or an error. So this is how the information is gathered, and
So this is real time?
yes.
So
Was there more to that
no
question?
saving? Well, normally when you fill out forms, you have to hit save.
So when you fill out sorry, just let's clarify real time. Once it is submitted, it will show up here. But if you're filling out the form, then let's say you have the ability to sort of pause it and complete later, right? So let's say you're halfway through a report and you want to stop and do it tomorrow. It won't show up here until you actually finish it and submit it.
Okay, so there's a submit button.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can also make other conditions around that. So it could be that, and we'll work with you to make sure that like each form works exactly as you need it. But let's say somebody else needs to approve it first. So you can actually have that step built into that form that it doesn't show up here. It's not submitted until so-and-so approves it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So you always have, you can, however it needs to be, we can match any workflow that you have. Okay. Okay, now, so these are student pages. One of the great features you may or may not care about is we also have the ability to like book appointments and stuff like that. So let's say it's parent-teacher conference week, or somebody, you want to allow people to like schedule a tour to come and see the school. People can just come here and select classes or whatnot, and select the date and select an available time for that appointment. And then they'll get an confirmations, and you can either have it automatically confirm, or you can have it pending until you go in and confirm it, and then it can send automated reminders, all that cool stuff. So just really easy sort of appointment management that can be done either on a teacher level or on a admin level. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into this is the administrative dashboard. Bear with me one sec. I'm just going to pause this for a second so that I can change into a different user role so that you can see a more specific dashboard to what you would want to see. Okay, I'm logging in now as an actual school administrator level because I'm currently before I was logged in as like a network support level. Okay. Um, here we go. All right. So this is the administrative dashboard. Sorry, I just need to get something off my screen there. Okay. So this is where generally speaking, a few people will have access to. This is where everything is managed on a much more granular level. So let's say I go into forms, right? So all those forms that we were seeing on the front end, they're all created back here. So I'm just going
Okay.
to go into the forms section, and this is where we would go if we want to generate a more specific report. Like we do, on the front end we have some reporting and sorting and filtering that you can see, but if you want to really like get a very specific range of information, you're going to want to go back here. So I also just want to show you, first thing I'm going to show you here is how easy it is to actually change these forms, or edit them or create them. So here's that first form, the attendance form we were looking at. So I'm going to click edit. So this is like our form builder. It's a nice, easy drag and drop form builder. And so if you remember, there was a student selector and then a date selector and then a status and notes. But let's say we wanted to add a different option to the status. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to go
Yeah.
down here. And I'm going to add
Could have a half a day. A half day would be something that's a possibility.
there you go, half day. I just added that in for you. Okay. So that's how easy. It's all, if you can use Microsoft Word or Excel or anything like that, all this stuff is going to be pretty easy for you. And then let's say you want to add some different types of fields in here. So you just go over here. These are the field selectors. So you got
Good.
standard
Okay.
fields like a
Yep.
single line text or a drop down or like checkboxes or radio buttons, you know. Um, and then you can also go to more advanced fields like, we want to add like an address field. So if I click address, I just drag this over here. So all of a sudden, this form is now going to have them fill out an address, right? Or if I want to, they can even upload a file. So let's say this form, you want them to actually fill it out and upload a file from their computer. So you can actually just click this, and it'll add that to the bottom of the form now. Like they can upload a file. So that's actually,
Cool.
depending on the form, that can be quite useful. And some
Yeah,
forms,
that's cool.
yeah. And you can just make a signature field, like, so all of those different things. And then what's really neat is we can get really specific and say, you know, so we've got some statuses here, right? So we have this ability to make, this is like where you become sort of not really a programmer, but we give you the ability to do some really kind of lightweight programming. You can, on any of these forms, you can add what's called conditional logic. So you can say, enable
I know.
conditional
If
logic.
then else. Okay.
Yeah, so you can say exactly. So show this field if, yada yada, status
Right.
is present. So
Right.
or you can have it not show, or anything like that. So this is how forms can get really advanced, basically, if they need to be.
On the
Um,
quiz,
yeah.
does that do grading within it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can you can make a quiz.
So you
They
can
also,
put what's the right answer.
yeah, right.
Okay.
And then also there's polling. You can create polls and surveys. Uh, Anything you can do with Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, any form builder, or any piece of paper you've ever used, we've got you covered in here.
I do have a question.
Yep.
View.
Go ahead.
What is it? What is Gravity View?
Oh, Gravity View. So Gravity View is is what allows us to present the forms on the front. So like that list on the front end, that just means a view. So if I go to the
Oh,
form, yeah, so you have the ability to, if you want to, you can actually stick the actual list of entries anywhere on the site. We have it set up, whenever you make a form, it automatically populates here and then there's if I click on views here, so it says view entries. So if I go up to the URL, it says demo.hubbli.com/view/attendance form. So this is the view for that form.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so that's just that's just
Okay.
some specifics about that.
Okay.
And that's actually, we're probably going to just, because we've made it a little bit more automated, we're probably just going to remove that. That's kind of like a legacy thing we're going to remove probably in a few days actually.
It's just a word that I hadn't heard before, but it makes sense now. You know, if you were to use like Microsoft Word, it's got page view. So that sounds like what this is, pretty much, or list view.
Actually, you got it. Yeah. It's just, it's lingo. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That stuff changes every now and then, and as we're always trying to update it, make it better. Every day there's new sort of user experience improvements and new features and whatnot. So that's
Okay.
one of the other cool things about it, is that you're every once in a while you're going to get an email from us like saying, hey, check this out, you got this great new feature. This will
Okay.
save you 10 hours a week type of thing. So uh, yeah. So that's the forms. Now, if you want to actually draw a report, you can go to import export. Let me just leave this. I won't actually save any of these updates, but so if you want to export any bit of information, whether it's general or very, very granular, you would just select your form here. So let's say, um,
Great book.
yeah, actually, you know what I'm going to show you? I'm going to show you. Let me show you one other thing really quickly. That's a very important element that I actually passed over, because this is one of the key things where it comes into like saving you really a lot of time. Um, so let's say you've got like an enrollment form, right? Which is like usually a pretty long form with a lot of different questions, and you're gathering a lot of information, in that type of form. So
Hmm.
we've got one here called a parent packet. Okay. So I'm going to go into the entries of the parent packet. So what happens is every time a form is collected, you'll see it on the front end. It's listed, right? But it's also, you can also access those entries here, right? So this is
So
just the
they're
back end.
individual folders.
Well, yeah. So exactly. So that's a good way of putting it. They're like, I call it a digital filing cabinet. So of course, you can search and do whatnot, but when you're back here in the dashboard, you actually have some more granular searching abilities. So, this form, one of the questions is like kind of that standard photo release. Do you allow us to use a picture of your child on the website or marketing materials or anything like that, right? So
Right.
if I want to select that particular field, I can say, I will allow my child's photo to be used. And this was a yes or no question. So this pulls in its options. Again, you're used to this type of like, conditional logic. So I will allow my child, to be on the website is yes, and I'm going to hit search. So what this is going to do now is very quickly give me a list of all the children we're allowed to use on the website, right?
Gotcha.
Or you could be, do you have any peanut allergies or any allergies? And then you select that one option as peanut, and then you hit search, and then you will get a very quick list, right? So if you're doing this by paper, um, it's going to take you a lot of time to look up that information. So what a lot of schools do is they gather their information by paper, and then somebody takes weeks to like type it all into Excel or something, right? So and then they'll search through Excel or something like that, or another system. But somebody has to like manually move it from paper into a digital format, if they even do that much. But that's a lot of time. It's also a lot of paper. This way, parents go, they fill out this form on any device, takes a few seconds instead of like a bunch of minutes, and then if you want to look up information, it takes you a couple clicks, and then you've got all the information you need. So with a couple clicks, I've got all the students that said yes, that I can, the parents said
Well,
yes,
it's a
we can put them on.
database, so that's why you can do it. Okay.
Yep. So it's a database of all the entries, exactly, which
Okay.
is really the point of a student information system, right? Um, so so that's forms, and then if we want to like export them, so we'll go to import export. I'll select that, I'll just go to let's say the attendance form. So what this does now is this gives me all the different fields in that form. I can either just say select all and download, right? So what this does is this will download an Excel file onto your computer with whatever information you ask it for. So either it's
Okay.
everything, or you can say, you know what, I just need students and the status and the dates.
Okay.
And then you can even say, you can add a condition in here if you want. We like this whole conditional logic thing, right? We give you the ability to be very specific. Or you can say also between, only entries between that date and this date. So I only want to see this month's entries, right? And you can
Okay.
select whatever info you want and then hit download.
Okay.
So a very simple way of, just getting the information very specific. And of
What
course you
about
can,
for scheduling, class
yeah,
scheduling? Like in terms of our classes, the kids in first through fourth grade, all content areas are within their classroom, and then they just leave their classroom for specials. One of the specials, the classes that they do take is Armenian, and they have two different types. There's Armenian for native speakers and Armenian non-native speakers, which I
okay.
figure shouldn't be that big a deal. But then when they get into fifth through eighth, they have basically it's like block scheduling, where they have a teacher for math, a teacher for science, a teacher for language arts.
Hmm.
Do you have that kind of scheduling capability?
Uh, so I want to see. There's a few different ways that scheduling is done, and you know, we can do any of them, but I'm not totally clear on from your description what how what you're kind of visioning. Um,
The
if you
beginning of the school year, when we develop the schedule, we have to figure out what child is going to be with which teacher
right.
and specials are, and then we need to just set up into the system so that um, the parents can see what class teachers they're assigned to.
Yeah, so basically, we would set up the form. So this would be the form would be set up for you to fill out from the staff level, right? And it can be presented on the student page so the entry is available there on the student page, and the parents can see whatever information you put in there. So so it would be um, like teachers, like it could be like, you know, topic or section or course or class or whatever your terminology is, teacher, and then dates or beginning date, ending date, or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, is that the type? Is that the information you need? Like the parents need to see like what they're doing, who they're doing it with, and when they're doing it, basically.
Well, when probably not explaining it well, and
Okay.
honestly, I sort of got thrown into this year. I didn't even realize that I was going to be dealing with the scheduling.
Sure. So
Uh,
also scheduling wise, just to so this might be done best on our calendars, where um, like there's every group, so every class would have its own calendar, right? So the
Yeah,
parents
I'm
need to
talking
know.
from top side. I'm talking about I'm the person that's got to put the schedule into the system so that
Yeah.
the teacher knows what class they have, the parent teachers the kids have, um, and they know the specials, etc. So when I say scheduling, like this year, I ended up doing CSV files for the list of students, the list of teachers, the list of what classes there were, and
Hmm.
the schedule. I actually ended up, it was sort of convoluted, but I ended up making a CSV of a schedule for each student's number, depending on what language they were taking, if they had Spanish, if they had Armenian for non-native native speakers, etc.
Yeah. So
That's what I'm talking
sure,
about.
sure. And that's where like the conditional logic would come in on the form. And so and by the way, we could also like import that if you wanted to have something that like to start with. If you have that information to start with, we could also import that. But we would just make sure we would work with you, and this is part of our setup process, that we would just make sure that that form that you would be populating with the different students, which you can do in bulk, by the way. It doesn't have to be all one at a time. Is set up correctly. So like, whether it's teachers and or students, like you would have one simple form to use that will last, from year to year to year, or you can update it or change it whenever you need to, of course. Um, but
End
that
of the
would be
school year, at the end of the school year, what do you do to roll the information over and reset for a new year?
yeah. So you can so basically every single entry. So let's just say your attendance form, as an example, never changes from year to year. It's just like, this is our attendance form. We're not going to change. Like for the last 5 years, we haven't changed how we do attendance, right? So you can you've got two ways of doing this. If you want to, you can actually title the form like attendance 2015, 2016, if you want to. But that really isn't necessary because um, every single entry is always date and time stamped. So doing a query for entries between certain dates is really easy to do. So it's it's always going to show like you can just sort it by date. Just it's very much like you would do on a spreadsheet, with just more automation happening, because it's tied into all these other features. But if you want to, you can say, this is our class schedule for 2015, 2016, and then you could just copy that and make whatever updates you need to make, and then just change the title to 2017, 2018, right?
Okay.
And then say, oh, well, we're not doing that class anymore, so you just remove that one from the drop-down list, that type of thing.
Okay.
Or you can just say, class schedule, and if it's not going to change, um, then you can use it from year to year to year, and all the entries are organized properly by date already. The system just handles that because it's a database that obviously date and timestamps everything.
Okay. All right.
And I also want to mention, like, one of the other things we do is if there's something that's like very, very specific to your school, and we don't do it, what we do is offer you the ability to actually purchase a customization to your site. Like, we can make really any feature. We'll do custom development as well for different schools. It's pretty rare that schools need that. In general, like we really do cover, I would say, 99% of pretty much all the scenarios. But if there's like a particular way you guys want the information to be managed or presented somewhere, like we can build a very specific report for you. And we just do it on a quote by quote basis, essentially. So where you're like, well, you know, so sometimes schools would be using the system for 6 or 9 months or something, and just realize, like, what, we if we could just do this, this would like save us a whole bunch of time, and we would love to, invest a few $100s or something to have this little thing created for us, right?
Right.
So
Sure.
so we can do that at at any point in time as well.
Okay. Okay.
And when you're at it requires being at the custom package. So if you guys were planning on going that route, then you would have that ability to do that.
Well, I
Uh,
think for what we need, like we have to do the custom package.
yeah, it sounds like it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you and I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I pretty much made that point. We also have we have a few other features here, like invoicing. Like, so our forms can handle payments, but we actually have full, like, account management as well. So like, so just going on an account level here. So I'll just go to the list of accounts. So this is where, like, the forms are great for, like, one-off payments like a field trip or a pizza day or something like that, and all the information's there listed in the form. But if you want to have like recurring payments, where a parent can go into their account page and see the status of their account and see their
Right.
invoices and print it off or whatever, that's what this is for. This is one of our newer features, and it's very, very powerful. So let's just go to the land and family, for instance. I'm going to go into the land and family account. So they might have multiple children. So we generally speaking, these accounts are titled by the family name, or it's titled by the child name. Let's say sometimes, obviously, parents can have two different last names. Um, so each parent has here's just some standard information, their address or whatnot. Here's all the different invoices. These are just links to the different invoices that have been sent out, either monthly or one-time invoices or annual. Um, and this is where you would connect, so each parent, we just have like demo subscriber and then demo subscriber two, like as if these were two separate parents, okay? So we would connect different parents or guardians, whoever needs to have access to this account or will be making payments or whatnot, or needs to be able to see the records. You just connect them to this account page. And then, so just to show you, I'm going to go to their dashboard. This is their client dashboard that they would see, that they would have access to see all their different invoices, right? So let's say they've got all these invoices here. This is a lot for a standard family, but so there's a balance at the bottom. So this is always updated in real time. But these are all individual invoices for either for monthly payments or for different, programs or whatnot. Now, if they
Mhm.
click on any of them, so there's also a status. So this one here is pending, right? So I'm going to click on this one, and this is the actual invoice page that they can go to and either make the payment or print it off, to print off a PDF of the invoice. And so let's say they want to pay the invoice, they can just click that and then enter credit card information. Or that's if they want to make either a one-time payment, but you can also have it set up to automatically withdraw on a monthly basis, either from a credit card or from a checking account as well. So
Okay.
you can just have recurring payments and invoices going out, or they can come here and they can either pay or they can print it off to bring in a check, and then you add that check to their record, and then obviously that deducts it from the balance, and all that history is there as well. Um, and then if you want to, just to go back to the administrative side, let's see here. So there's a report section. So you can see in general, we give you some pretty graphs, down here to see what's going on overall from week to week, or you can change this to months if you want, um, with different invoices. But you can also just go, like, you can just look at a report of all your different invoices that are going through the system. You can select, obviously, different times, and you can export to all these different formats as well. So that invoices, payments, and accounts or whatnot. So all this stuff is really nicely organized for you here, and the system can just make the stuff really automated.
Okay.
And that's another feature. Another feature in regards to communicating, I'm not sure if you deal with this type of stuff at all, but like we just have a really nice newsletter feature. So this is actually getting a really cool update the next couple of weeks, but I'm going to show you the current feature here because it's actually pretty good on its own. But let's just say you want to send out, like, you want to actually create like a nice newsletter that you would send out. A lot of schools use things like Mailchimp or Constant Contact. But let's say I want to like send, we give you like really nice email templates to start with, and you can
Mhm.
track when you send this out. You can track the open rates or whatnot. So this is just, an example of a Wysiwyg, email editor. You know, if you want to, you can actually pick a different template to start from. So
Okay.
we actually base it off this handwritten one.
Oh.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oops. And then you just go in here and you can go in here and reformat this however you like. You change the formatting, change the color. I'll make it green, and it just shows up over here in the preview. And then you can even have like merge tags, like hello first name, right? Like the user's first name will show up. You can you know, edit the media, add different pictures, so a nice little, all your different formatting
Cool.
options in media.
Cool.
So a nice little system to send out, you know, and this is different than what goes on in a group. A group is like sort of real-time bite-sized bits of information that's really helpful, like reminders or things like that, or like, hey, just letting everyone in the class know that, there's a case of lice, that type of thing. As opposed to like this being sort of like maybe a weekly, monthly, or quarterly sort of, more long format newsletter that you might want to spend a little more time designing or whatnot. And then once you kind of get your setup in your um, design, you can just keep on using the same ones. You don't have to like redesign it every time. You can just use a previous one as a template to start from. And you also know who opened it, who didn't open it, and all that. So there's full tracking too. I'm just going to leave this page here.
You
And
mass email?
mass email. Well, that's what that would be right there. So
No, like if you had to send, the email notifications.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a snow day.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's what our system's doing. So you could do that from within a group. You could just make that post within a group and even make it also go out as a text message. You could say like letting everyone know today's a snow day.
Gotcha.
Don't send your kids. That could happen from the group, or if you want to, you could also do it as a newsletter. You could, if you really felt like it, you could get a nice picture of Frosty, stick it on there, and say, hey, it's a snow day, go have fun. So yeah, you can decide to send it to one, a particular group or to the entire school.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can also send private messages to people too. So let's say you want to speak to a parent of a particular child, or so you could actually go to the student page, right? This is just one, like every user has a profile, just like they would on Facebook, right? So here, I go to this child's page and I'm like, you know what, I need to send a message to this parent here. So I'm clicking on her icon to go to her profile, and I can send her a private message. So I can subject. So this is basically like sending an email, and this goes to their email inbox. But the message history also exists here inside Hubbli. Okay. So you actually have records of the communication between your staff and the parents. Mm-hmm. So that can also be really beneficial sometimes to have, like for various reasons. To say like, just so you know, like you actually did send that message, and if it got read or not. So that can sometimes it's good to know, and sometimes it can actually cover your butt in different scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's all the main features of Hubbli. In regards to like being an actual like website for your school, I just want to show you an example. So if we do a search for like this is just a Google search for Christian education in Winter Park. Okay. So we have a school that is a Christian school in Winter Park, Florida, and they wanted to be found on these search terms on Google for prospective families that would perform that search, right? So the first result, if you'll notice, says here, christianeducation.hubbli.com. This is their actual Hubbli site. So I'm going to click on them, and I'm going to they're using Hubbli as their website. So this is their homepage, and this is a Hubbli site.
Okay.
But you'll notice that there is actually I'm currently logged in.
Portal.
Yeah. So exactly. Now this is custom. Yeah. This is the custom level, right? So I'm gonna log out now so that you see what it looks like if I'm not a parent, right? So I'm not currently logged in, and there's a login button for the parent portal. And now this is at this level, this can be very, very custom. You can have any information you want up here. Right. You can make it look really bad, or you can make it look great. So it's kind of at this stage, you can actually really have a lot of control over the appearance and the design of the site. Just to give you an example, here's another one, Bowman School. So this is another school that's located in Palo Alto, actually. So again, they have a sign up form right here. Different colors, different logo, of course, different different navigation altogether. But I want to show you something. Notice how many areas there are here on the navigation. Okay,
Yeah.
so right now after I log in,
Oh, well, it's going to increase.
exactly my students,
Yeah.
my stream, my Bowman, my groups.
Right.
So this
Right.
is how So all of a sudden you've got more options to see.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I had a question.
okay,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I forgot it
that's
that
okay.
fast.
I think I'm now all the way through. I have a question for you.
Teacher
What?
pages. That's what my question was. Teacher
Oh, okay.
pages.
Yes.
So we would be able to put a tab across the top that was for teacher pages, and
Y-
then have a list of names, and people could click in it, and each teacher could have their own little web.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. And would they be able to show student work in?
Student work. They absolutely could. It might be best to use the groups for that. Um, but they could just have their own profile page with their own with any specific information they want to have.
Okay.
Yeah. At
All
the
right.
custom level, it's pretty much anything that you want. Anything that you've seen on any website. I mean, as far as just like web content, you can pretty much do with the custom level.
Excuse me. Okay. I'm sorry. You had a question for me.
Yeah, I was just wondering. You said you've been looking around. Are you guys like what's your decision making process at this stage?
Looking at several packages, and I want to be able to. We're having a professional development to be able to show the teachers, some of the selections that like what Hubbli has to offer, etc. And then I think at that point, after we get teacher feedback on features that they're looking for, which I think we pretty much have guessed most of them, but
Hmm.
you never know. And then it would probably go back to Emma, Joanne Salvatore, and then it's like narrowing down.
So when do you guys have a firm date by which you're going to have a decision made?
I'm not the decision makers.
Okay.
Ultimately, probably Sister Emma, and then she'll probably school board and get their um, blessing on it also.
Uh-huh.
But the time that we would need to have our web page up and running by June 1st.
Right. So you would
No,
want to be making a decision if you're I mean uh for any option that you take, if you want to have things set up and ready by June 1st, you're gonna want a number of months beforehand to go through it, organize it, get it all done,
exactly.
make sure that
Yeah,
it's all the checks and balances are there. So yeah,
right.
it's good that you guys are in the mindset of making a decision, um, and we're certainly able to help, you know, help make that decision easy for you, um, either with information or with incentives to move more quickly, um,
Okay.
and so I would so I'm gonna leave. Pat, you're still with us, right?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, great. So I will. I'm going to hop off. I'm going to leave Pat to just to close up with you. It's been a real pleasure, Carmela. I appreciate you taking the time to learn about Hubbli. Um, we have even some other features that we haven't spoken about. So I one thing I really want to request, and I know Pat's going to probably remind you of at some point, is that if there's anything that somebody asks for or wants, and you don't think Hubbli does it, make sure you check with us first, because it could be that we actually have that feature, or we just didn't, go into that little nook and cranny of the site to show you that, because we have a lot of features. Our whole purpose is to replace everything and be an all-in-one solution, and we're always working towards that. So it's a little bit tough within one demo like this to get through everything, and I really tried to
Right.
prioritize what you're asking about, but I did leave some things out. Okay, so just make sure that you don't do yourself the disservice of going with a different platform or a different service because you thought we didn't have it. That's all. Okay.
Now, I would say one area that probably you can do, but would be customized, would be lesson planning for teachers to be able to create lesson plans.
Oh, that's
Folder of
that's
lesson plans.
dead simple. That's a really easy one. That's our
I
forms
think so
does that.
too.
Yeah, our forms can
Um,
do that, no problem.
and I guess, do you have access to the standards and competencies for Common Core in Pennsylvania?
So we've done a lot of that. Well, we have like schools that we've got full Common Core sort of reporting and documentation already using our forms. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it was for Pennsylvania specifically. So, but in any event, that's something that we. I don't know how much does it vary from state to state.
Pennsylvania decided to make their own version of the Common Core.
Oh, awesome.
Right.
But we can handle it. You all it's this easy. You send it to us and we'll get it. This is how the process works. When a school signs up with us, you just dump all your information on us and we get it into your site for you. Like
Okay.
we have a team that is just does the setup. So we teach you how to we teach your staff how to use the site. So we do a few different we got a couple different ways of doing this. We can either our standard way is we take you through 4 different training sessions, like a very specific training session, and then if you have the custom package, you can get a couple more of those as well, with for no additional cost or anything. We also do on-site setup. So that is an additional cost. It's not part of the regular setup package, but we actually come on site and we work with your admin staff and your anybody else that we need to make sure that we like we leave no stone unturned, right? Like we work through all your different workflow processes and we document them, and then we what we do is we create like a transition program for you to go from paper to Hubbli digital forms and all that stuff. And then we
Okay.
actually leave you with a manual, a customized manual that shows you how you used to do it and then how you do it now on Hubbli. So it's
Okay.
really easy to always remember, oh, how do we do that now? That thing that we do. So we organize it by your specific workflows. Um, but we're in there. We're on the ground in person, working with you guys and training you in person, um, on premise to make sure that like you're really getting the most value and the most workload reduction possible.
Okay.
And so that's another option too. And and then but you don't have to like you don't have to figure out how Hubbly works and then get it set up. We teach you how Hubbly works and we set it up for you
Okay.
at the same time. Okay?
Okay. All right. All right. Well,
Cool.
thank you. It was a
You are
pleasure to
very
meet
welcome.
you.
Thank you, Jono. I appreciate your time and getting us
Okay,
through that.
all the best, guys.
Take care.
Take,
Bye-bye.
take care, Jono. Oops. I think we should still be connected here, Carmilla. So tell
Okay.
me.
Well, hold on a second. I'm gonna actually first I'm just gonna pass you the presenter role. Okay?
Oh,
Back to
gotcha.
you.
Thanks. Got it.
Okay. All right. See you guys. All the
All
best.
right. Thanks, Jono. Okay. So it's just us girls now.
Okay.
So tell me, what did you think of Hubbly?
I can see all the customization that you were talking about and that John is talking about. I mean, I have to probably, sit down and it's a lot of information to digest, but
Okay.
I just let me think about it for a little bit, and